All right. Welcome everyone to the session today. We're here to talk about how to create a successful music campaign on TikTok. And I'm actually joined with some very good friends. You guys may have seen the intro title in the beginning. I said we look like a band in that lineup of photos. But anyway, so I want to introduce some of the panelists. Just for some context, my name is Jacob. I'm the CEO of a company called Flighthouse, and we're the biggest media brand and music agency or marketing agency in the kind of record industry. We also just do a lot of original content. We have 28 million followers, and we do a lot of campaigns. And so we'll talk a little bit more about kind of Flighthouse and how it got its start. But I first want to introduce our first guest, Adi Azran.
Cool. What's up? What's up?
Is he on?
Yes, I think so. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Adi Azran. I work at Flighthouse with Jacob. I run the marketing team. So right now, we're mainly obviously working in music, dealing with a lot of record labels, helping them push their music on TikTok and everything. So yeah, I'm 25. I'm from Orange County, California. I've been here since last July of 2019. And yeah, that's me. Jacob.
And hey, I am Theo Battaglia. I am head of creative and marketing at 10K Projects. We are an independent record label based in Los Angeles. I've been there for a couple of years now. And before that, in another lifetime, I had worked in film and TV, in the development and production side and the marketing side, and then pivoted to music and have been at 10K since.
Hey everyone, I'm Alana Dolgin. I'm a manager of commerce and promotion at HITCO Entertainment, an independent label based in LA. I live in New York. I'm from New York. I've been working in the TikTok space now for about 2 years. I've been lucky enough to run some campaigns with Flighthouse as well. Yeah.
I think our moderator
has completely ditched us. No, I'm just kidding.
It's part of the shtick.
Yeah,
it's part of the whole joke.
Yeah.
I think maybe if I can recall one of the questions, I think Jacob might be back. But I can kind of go into a little bit about like what we look for as far as, with music that helps us, kind of identify, how a song is, I hate to use the word like TikTokable, but yeah, like, things that we just kind of look for. So for me specifically, obviously we look for how this, like, is the song catchy? Is the song actually good? There's a difference between, there's kind of this, mix of like, is the song good for TikTok? And can it also lead to streaming, or is it just good for the platform? And so I think identifying that's super important when trying to run a campaign, but definitely looking for that within the song. So for example, there could be a part of the song that, would work really well for a campaign. And then you have another part of the song that you think might just be catchier, might be better for streaming. So I guess it just depends on your goals, but you could look at it like, if we use the first part of the song here, that's the intro, like, is that going to be good for, pushing that song on TikTok? Is it going to lead to streaming or not? Or if we use this other part of the song, is that going to lead better to streaming? So just like kind of identifying that, but what that kind of means is, we're looking for elements of the song that kind of work, punchlines, whether it's lyrics that could be a dance, or lyrics that could, we're looking at the context of the song, things like that, where, that all kind of matters. The vibe of the song, the emotion of the song. Those are all like things that we're looking for to kind of identify, is this going to work as a campaign? Is this going to, be a big quote unquote trend or whatever like that? So a lot of those elements, kind of really fall into figuring out whether, a song could work for TikTok or not. And honestly, just trying and failing is part of the process, and just kind of knowing. And, I think that leads to pattern recognition. So, Jacob, you're back in here, so you can kind of take over. But yeah.
My bad, guys. A little Wi-Fi game was off today. No, but well said. Yeah, I know that's like a big thing that you try to, you guys spend a lot of time figuring out, all three of you. It's just figuring out like what kind of makes a song sort of like TikTokable, like you said, for lack of a better term. And then, yeah, just super briefly for context as well, with Flighthouse, we actually got started off as a sounds page. And so I think it was like in 2016 was when we started to kind of like build Flighthouse as like a sounds page. And for anyone that doesn't know, a sounds page is like actually a big way that Adi and Alana and Theo have like broken records. But it's basically making like remixes and edits of certain types of songs that kind of lend themselves to be better for the platform. And so that's kind of what Flighthouse was sort of building early on, was like one of the first sounds pages that was making remixes and edits of different songs that that would kind of lend themselves better to the platform. But yeah, and then I guess I kind of want to get into just kind of TikTok as a platform. I mean, Alana, is there a certain reason why you think like TikTok has worked and why it's like a little bit more interesting for people to find music than like maybe Spotify or SoundCloud or anything else in the past?
Sure. I mean, the platform still remains a very big mystery to me every day, because I learn something new. But in my experience, it's easily become one of the most important digital platforms, especially in our space in music. And it impacts culture every single day. So, and we've all seen that from the election, et cetera. And so part of TikTok that I think makes music so important is like music is the base for every trend, any viral trends as well. And users are getting their cues from a song. So you're listening to the song and you're pulling from that song what that trend's going to be. And you're ultimately using the song as your main source of inspiration. So it's the driving source behind most of the content that you're finding on TikTok. And I know this sounds super, super cheesy, and Adi and I have had this conversation many times, but like music is amazing and it's literally the best and it makes everything better, especially content. And it could be as simple as now, like when you're posting a photo, and this is an example Adi and I have spoken about, like where you're posting a photo of a sunset or a beach. And it's like, you're always going to put a song now behind it, whether it's Put Your Records On or I Love You by Surf Mesa, or even Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. It always makes it better. But with that being said, I think the best part about TikTok is that it's completely and totally unpredictable. So it drives home the point that literally anything is possible. Back to what Adi was speaking about. Any song, any remix, any instrumental can break on it at any time. But again, it remains a mystery to me because I don't think we've seen a platform that has as much crossover as this one does, to streaming, to radio, to the Billboard Hot 100, to social media even. And so it keeps it fun. But I do think that music is the basis behind all of it.
Totally. Well said. And I think there's actually, I agree with you. It's super unpredictable. Sorry, go ahead, Adi.
I was just going to say, I think that's what makes TikTok so cool, is like, with other content, obviously you can strike in inspiration from a lot of different places, but especially with TikTok, like, there's an unlimited number of songs out there, and every song can strike a new idea for you to create a piece of content. So it's kind of like this never-ending source of inspiration when you just can listen to a song, whatever it makes you feel, whatever the person says in the song, you can take those things and you can actually build upon it. And so I think that's just something that's super cool about TikTok in general, just kind of bouncing off Alana.
Yeah, and I think just to based on what you guys were saying, on our end, what's a beautiful thing to see when a song takes off or has any sort of groundswell on TikTok, because of the way the app and the algorithm seem to work, it's very democratized. So when a song goes, it's rewarding on the label side at least, and I imagine on every other side, on the artist side, because it means people sort of like voted for your record. Because obviously, the more time people spend and on a video or on a sound and interact with it and recreate based on a sound or based on an original video, it's a vote every time.
Yeah, totally. And then like, I guess to the note of like I mean, I agree with you guys. It's kind of a super unpredictable platform, because I think a common question that people ask is like, hey, is there like something I should be looking for when something's TikTokable? But like, I don't know, a D/Alana, Theo, like based on y'all's experience, I guess we can start with a D. Like, is there something common, or can you be going through TikTok and something just hit you out of left field with like, oh, I never would have thought that this random song could have gone viral, but like we have Dogface, who literally just, that could have been any song, but it's the cranberry juice and the skateboarding and the vibe that like makes it what it is, right?
Yeah, while you were gone, I was like trying to remember the first question, and so I like kind of went into a little bit about it, but a little bit, and I'll let Alana as well, answer if she would like to kind of jump into, but yeah, there's just like, again, like emotion of the song, little cues, little inch, like, there was a trend. I always kind of bring this up, but there was this trend for YMCA, that song, and there's like this clap. There's like this clap. Yeah, you've ever heard about it? And and there's a clap in the song, and literally the trend was like people putting a piece of cheese like on their hand and walking up and just filming their hand. And as soon as the clap happens in the song, they throw the piece of cheese and it hits that like, I don't know, person's face, right, friend's face. So it's like, kind of going back into like campaigns and all that stuff. I think a typical marketing campaign has always been, the song is called Table, like everyone should do something with the table in the video. And what TikTok's shown us is that, yes, there's definitely times where that works. And there's definitely a lot of times where like the song has kind of nothing to do with the trend itself, but because there's some kind of sound or like just the way it makes somebody feel, like, trends kind of go off of that, as well as obviously the lyrics and what the title is and stuff. So that it kind of goes both ways, but yeah, just like looking for those little things, a gunshot in the audio, like, can you build a skit around getting shot in a funny way, whatever, like, so yeah, there's a lot of those things that we're kind of like looking for in the sounds, even just like, I'm not such a, I don't know music terms very well, but like, I don't know, like the sections of like a verse or chorus, like if, there's like 4 bars or whatever, each of those can represent a different picture or a different, like if you title it, my 4 moods or something, and those 4 bars are just like the moods, like the section where you can explain those. There's just like little things like that are in the music that we're trying to pay attention to, and then kind of going back to the Dogface thing. It's an interesting conversation. Like, if he didn't use that song, would the trend, or would that have worked as well, or was the song so fitting to that it made it what it is, and so there's been people that have skateboarded with cranberry juice on TikTok before. I actually seen it, and it didn't go as big as this, so it's just something to like consider. Like, it really does, like, it's just the marriage of visual and audio is just like so important, for trends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I will say,
Theo,
go ahead. I was going to say, on the other end of it, you have the trends, which I think that's something D's really, really good at. But then on the other side, there's working with influencers and the best influencers to seed that song. I always say, like, I'm never going to be smarter than the influencer that's on that app. I'm not an influencer, but I'm really good at identifying the in another life. You're the influencer, D. But I'll leave that for another conversation. But you find the pockets of where those songs can go, especially, and Theo, I know you can probably relate to this, but as an independent label, my budgets look a little bit different than a major label does. So I had to get crafty and find out pockets where songs were going to work, or at least give the song the best chance to perform. And so there's that approach as well, where I'll let the influencers sort of make the creative, but know that I'm picking the perfect influencers to make the song effectively work.
Right. I mean, but
that's why the
budget
environmental
aside,
come together.
yeah, I mean, budget aside, it always ends up being, our strategy is always to be nimble, and to be very surgical, especially at the beginning, to your point, with who we're going out to. And it's usually not me or my team, but we have amazing partners. I mean, Homemade Projects, who we have, our label as a joint venture with. Zach and Tony are experts in TikTok, and we've worked obviously with Flighthouse on a lot of stuff. And it ends up, you see the most success when it's not just throwing money at it and doing that. It's when you get surgical at the outset and are targeting the right people with the right audiences, maybe trying to tap into a number of audiences to see what sticks.
Totally. We got a question from the audience from Kyle. Theo, this one might be a good one for you to answer, since I know at 10K, you guys, I feel like you guys are pretty tapped in with just kind of data tools and reading stuff from TikTok, seeing if it kind of like crosses over. Question from Kyle is TikTok virality even quantifiable? And like, do you think there's a point, like a certain amount of videos where it's like it has to drip over into Spotify streams or Apple Music?
I don't know. I personally don't know the number, and I don't think anyone knows the number. I think you can, if you go from 0 to 20,000 creations in a day out of nowhere, you have something major. Even if you go to 2,000 in a day, so like if you're seeing these small but noticeable jumps in creations, I think that is a fantastic indicator. I don't, even when we're getting reporting back on the back end, I don't necessarily think that, reach or impressions is the absolute best way to look at it. Because a lot of the times with advertising, that those are numbers, some numbers that we look at, and that's part of how we quantify and qualify the success of our campaigns. But with TikTok, it seems like the creation trend, that number, how many videos are created and how many times it's shared, those are the better metrics to be looking at.
Yeah, and
but I don't know that there's a formula to answer Kyle.
There definitely isn't.
And kind of going back to like what I was talking about, when there was like, there's been times where we've done a campaign, for example, and it gets 500,000 videos, but just doesn't stream very well. And so there's like, it matters like what part of the song is the part that's the best for TikTok. And so, you might have something that gets 10,000 videos, 20,000 videos, 100,000 videos, and it ends up doing way better than something that has 500,000 videos, just based off of like the part of the song that's on there. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they brought up to me how, Renegade, which is like, like arguably the biggest, I forgot the actual lottery, but like by K-Camp, arguably one of the biggest songs ever in TikTok's history. And based on how it performed, they were saying like it didn't stream as well as they thought it would compared to how big it was on TikTok. But because, the part of the song that was used, didn't have lyrics or was the intro. And so like, it's super hard to know exactly, but yeah, virality on TikTok, comes in different forms, as far as like leading back to streaming, which is obviously everyone's ultimate goal with this whole, thing. So, so it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Then though, on the other side though, you look at what that's done for K-Camp. I'm sorry, for Renegade, the producer. And now he's a huge priority at a major label, and he's creating an album with incredible features and incredible music. So it's like, you can quantify it that way, one way or another.
Yeah. And like, yeah, like there, it depends on the strategy and everything. You could be like, I just want to get my name out there, whatever. Like this might not necessarily lead back to streaming on this song or whatever, but people are going to know who I am more and more. And I think depending on the sequence of your campaigns, like let's say you have a song or two that has a moment, and then you have another one that has a moment that doesn't lead back to streaming, but your name is still like in conversation. I think that that's an interesting thing to look at as far as being a marketer.
Right. And even sometimes, and I've worked on campaigns that unfortunately haven't been as successful, or what I would consider successful. But at the same time, their teams were still incredibly happy because it was the one thing that they were actually doing and putting spend behind. And because of that, you were seeing a direct result in streaming. And I've seen that many times happen where there was nothing going on. You do a little bit of spend. It makes only a couple hundred videos, but you still start seeing an increase in streaming. So you know that it's that responsive on TikTok.
Wow. Yeah. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Amazing. Yeah, I definitely think, it's been cool to see it kind of come up as a strong medium. But yeah, I think it's interesting that some songs can get like a lot of videos and it doesn't necessarily convert. And I think you can point to a bunch of reasons, but at the end of the day, proof's in the pudding, as they say. Do you guys think that like there's some artists or genres that are not suited to TikTok, or do you guys think that like a D, do you think there's genres that you've seen perform better? Or is it kind of an equal playing field for all genres?
Yeah, I think for me, I would say I think that any genre works, but you know, it's pretty like hip hop is like pretty prominent and dominating, I think, TikTok at the moment. But I do feel, you know, I've seen tons of different genres work: classical music, hip hop, rock, dubstep, you know, like house music. Like I've seen everything work as long as it's a fun thing to make content with.
Totally. Alana or Theo?
Yeah, I think it's pretty genre agnostic. It kind of comes down to, I mean, there is a spectrum of, you know, how good is the song, how good is the hook, how catchy is one part of the song. There are those elements to consider. But I think at the end of the day, any music can have a moment on TikTok at that point it comes down to the creator. It comes down to, you know, their creativity, what part of the song, what they do with the song. You know, that question when it's beyond, you know, mainstream music and you know, and we're talking about things that come out of left field. Like I think people would assume classical would be something that would come out of left field. That, in my opinion, comes down to creator.
100%.
Totally. And to speak from the artist side, and this is a conversation that I have with a ton of people, I always view a song that goes viral and an artist completely separate on the platform. Like a song that has gone viral doesn't mean that the artist is necessarily active on the platform. Because sometimes it might not necessarily make sense for that artist to be on the platform. Two of the biggest songs that I worked didn't have artists that were super active on the platform, but the song was undeniably one of the most viral songs on TikTok. And so I think it's a balance of trying to find ways that work, because I do think it's a platform worth leaning into considering the reaction that it has, but it has to work for them and it has to make sense in their own way.
I have a question on that note, Alana, like, because there's kind of there can be a stigma sometimes behind having a big TikTok song, like, and I think it's like some part of it's like humorous, where like there's comments that are like, please don't blow this song up, which I don't think that like it's ever really, because my philosophy is for a long time has been like, at the end of the day, popularity is popularity, and it doesn't matter if the SoundCloud community finds it or Spotify or whoever. But what do you think is the best way, like if an artist blows up overnight on TikTok, what's the best way for them to try and create a long-term career? Like what should they have ready? Is that a loaded question?
Well, it's hard because how do you know when it's going to happen? You don't know. You could go to bed and wake up one day and then all of a sudden your video's got 20 million views and no one can be ready for that. I can speak, however, to artists that I think do a really good job of playing into the platform and also keep coming with great songs. And I think the perfect example right now is the #1 artist on the Billboard Hot 100, 24K Golden, right? Like he's a perfect example. We've all worked with him. He's incredible on the platform, engaging, understands trends, influencers, but also is making music that's relevant to our times and works. And he's leaning to the platform. Obviously, Jason Derulo sticks out to me as well, who I think is doing an excellent job on the platform, and with continuing to come out with music that works and completely leaning in. Charlie Puth, Liam Payne is starting to work harder there. So it's like everyone's finding their ways that works for them, that makes sense for them as an artist, and building that brand. And it's a good thing. But then you see artists like Diplo, who's trying to figure it out himself and figure out what works and what doesn't, right? So it's different for everyone. And I don't think there's one solution, because you could just be a person on TikTok and your music can be completely viral on the other side. But I think 24K has done a really good job of marrying the two.
Yeah.
And that's not easy.
And I think just through the lens of the campaign and through the lens of the industry over the past 2 years, it's interesting how the conversation has shifted. I think in that particular time frame, I think it's so important not to, a lot of people talk about TikTok because it's such an important platform and such an important tool as marketers and as creatives, but to lose sight of the artist development side of it, and to always be considering that the life cycle of a project, the life cycle of an artist, and where they're at in their development process is always super important. So to us, it doesn't really, it's not like if we sign someone and in parallel path, they have a song that's going on TikTok and we, work that angle along with many others, and it continues to grow and grow and grow, and that song seems to explode. That's not like our work here is done, and we have a superstar now. The artist development side is so important, the most important thing, and you got to continue on that path, forever and heavy on that path. But TikTok becomes an incredible pillar of a campaign to, raise awareness, get a ton of engagement on a song and with an artist, and it breeds discovery of if someone falls in love with one artist's song, they can go back to the catalog. If an artist's been putting out music for 3 years, a single song on TikTok, all that 3 years of development that you've been working on with the artist and the artist has been diligently working on pays off because of, something goes viral, and then it waterfalls back to the rest of the catalog. And I think that is why it's so important for the conversation not to be led by one single pillar of a campaign, TikTok being the example here. But it is an incredible tool, I think.
Yeah, I was in a Clubhouse discussion the other night, and someone asked, if somebody gets on a Spotify playlist, is that, really great for the brand, or is that enhancing the brand of an artist? And while the conversation, somebody came in and was like, yeah, absolutely. If you're an artist that's on these playlists, you're absolutely going to be in the same discussion as these other artists and stuff. And somebody else came in, they're like, well, it's actually, and it kind of relates to this conversation, because it's like, oh, well, the playlists are a really good place for awareness and all that stuff, but if you're not building your brand, doing other things, you can't just rely on TikTok. You can't just rely on getting on these playlists that's not going to necessarily lead to people going and buying your merch or buying tickets or being a hardcore fan. And so it kind of plays into this same thing where it's there's so much more. And I'm not even at a label, so when Theo's talking, I'm in here just listening to exactly what he says, but straight it bars. Feels to me straight bars. But I'm just feeling it there's just so much more to building an artist than just a moment on TikTok or a playlist or whatever like that. So yeah.
Well, I think I think the common answer is just have a good foundation, and I think that's what 24K, Surfaces, Ian Dior have done a really good job at, is having that foundation ready so that when they do have a big song, it converts in the right way. And actually, I accidentally set up a pretty good segue for this next question. But
Damn.
do you guys? Yeah, on accident, unintentional. Do you guys think that there's any negatives to running a TikTok campaign, or can there be?
Yeah.
I thought a lot
mean,
about this question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's start
go.
with Alana.
I
Theo,
thought a lot about this question. Okay. I thought a lot about this question.
Perfect.
And you guys tell me what you think, of course, but I view it, obviously being on the label side for as long as I've been on the label side, I've been taught like a hit's a hit. And if it works on TikTok, we've all seen the results. You look at, like I said, you look at today's top hits, you look at Billboard Hot 100, you look at the radio charts, like it's majority of records that have broken or are breaking on TikTok. And that's crazy to me. And so it's hard to look at that and see like, is this a negative thing? Like, I know this a negative thing. Like, I know we sort of touched on it before where it's like, please don't make this song a TikTok thing. But at the end of the day, that's still people engaging with the song. They're still probably going to listen to the song. They're saying it because they're a fan of the song or they're a fan of the artist. And so I'm tempted to say, like, unless the trend is really terrible and like is just really portraying a terrible message, I don't know if there's any negatives because it's fueling your song and your music, other than that one thing that I just mentioned. And I'm sure you'll come up with 5 more because that's just who you are. But I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I don't even think it's, to your point, like I actually don't think it's like an emphatic yes. There are negatives to any huge negatives to TikTok, but it creates some amazing problems to have, and to my anecdote earlier about like if you for example, if you sign someone and their song blows up right after you sign someone or in parallel path, or at any point in early artist development, you could have the problem of not having an incredible foundation for that trend to ride on. But I think we've figured out, and I think a lot of people have artfully done this, how to manage that and at what pace we respond to that in terms of next releases or the rest of the catalog. But I think that is a huge problem that a lot of artists and labels end up having. It's kind of chasing their tails if a song goes unexpectedly. Because I think you always have to be ready, and the foundation is super important.
You do. Well, I always say too that like people trip about it, but it's like at the end of the day, you have zero control. Or sometimes if your song becomes a TikTok song, just run with it. Sorry, go ahead, Adi.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
No. I was gonna just bounce off your idea of just like I've seen songs that have taken off and the videos that were being made, were kind of weird, and like the artist didn't like it, and I don't really want to say who it was, but like they made videos about like, yo guys, this is a song that like you guys need to like asking the fans like, yo, please help me, like the videos that are under this sound are just weird, and so like that I guess could be I don't know though, like did that lead to a bunch of streams after that, or does it have this weird association after? Like I don't exactly know, but like obviously if like really I don't know, I guess just like the type of videos that are made, I could see it going a certain way where you just don't want it to go as an artist, but yeah, it's just uncontrollable. But then the argument is like, but did that end up leading to a lot of streams anyways, or I don't know. So it's definitely an interesting thing. So I don't know. That's a good question, honestly.
Yeah, it is an interesting question. On to the next, shall we? Okay, so here's a question, and I have an answer that there's no right or wrong answer, obviously. But do you guys see TikTok as something that's going to last in the industry? We'll start with a D this time.
No. No, Alana wants to start.
Alana,
I don't want to start.
Alana,
she was ready.
I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
Ready, Alana's
impossible.
ready,
It's
Alana's ready.
impossible
Yeah.
to predict.
I don't know, and go ahead.
I would
Okay,
say
here's a better question. Does everyone hope that TikTok's still around in 5 years? Obviously, right?
Hell yeah.
I, for one.
Yeah.
I mean, we like
Let's see that.
TikTok, so but I would say like I think like is it gonna be as prominent? Like, what was the question exactly? Is it gonna still be a thing?
Like, yeah, do you see TikTok as a lasting catalyst in the industry?
Yeah,
Do you
so
think
I think
it's still
like
gonna fuel records long term?
I do. As long as there's attention on a platform, I feel like it's gonna work, especially with how like music driven it is. The thing is it's gonna get, we're already seeing it. It's getting really saturated, and a Doja Cat Say So or a Sunday Best Surfaces at 20, 30 million videos. Like, I don't know if that's gonna happen again. But I still think that it'll drive it and be a catalyst. I just don't know. Like, it's just going to be a lot more saturated. It's going to be a lot harder to happen. But I think, like, if it's still a prominent platform, I think that the attention, as long as it's there, I think it's still going to, drive, new listeners or whatever marketing campaigns. I think it'll still work. It's just going to get harder and harder. So, I just don't think it's going to be necessarily the same way as it is now, obviously, but I still feel like it, could be.
100%. Theo or Alana, want to jump in with anything?
I think to answer the second question, I would love it to stick around because, a platform as engaging and as dynamic as TikTok is just a great, it's fun just as a user and great discovery destination. B, as a marketer, it is an incredible tool, and I think it will change. I think to Adie's point, it will right size to some degree because of how saturated it is. But I imagine they'll add features over the next couple of years. I imagine all of the change that we've seen with other platforms will happen, and I hope it sticks around, and I hope it, just allows for more creative octopus arms.
Yeah, if the government keeps it around.
Creative octopus arm. Yeah,
tentacles, not arms, tentacles.
There you go.
There we go. Creative tentacles. We love that. Cool. I think we're running. I think we got about 5 minutes left. So let me ask this, because I think that a lot of the people listening are artists or managers or working in the industry. I personally kind of look at TikTok as like one of the many vehicles for promotion. I think it's like definitely popular. But I also think that like personally, like every record needs to be like a TikTok song. But let me ask you guys this, and I guess we'll start with Alana. We'll do angle again, Theo and Adie. What's like one piece of advice, or however, like what's like the strongest piece of advice you could give to like an aspiring artist or manager that's like trying to get their music out there? Like, and it can be super tactical, it can be a little bit more philosophical, whatever you feel like giving.
I would actually have to say my advice is really, really basic. But it's use the platform. It's use the platform. Like,
I agree.
I tell every artist that I work with that there is some way that they can work on this platform, whether it's, I have artists that make perfect sense to be a persona on the platform, but then you have artists that are like, I don't know if I'm the right person for TikTok, but no, like her singing acoustically could work, or an instrumental, or it has to be a skip-based thing, but there's always ways that it can work. And so, albeit very general, basic advice, but it's use the platform and find the way that it works best for you, because it does work. And of course, consistency, which is a big eye roll, but consistency.
The roles haven't changed, people.
Are those snaps?
Yeah, who's snapping?
Yeah, what was that?
That was me.
Yeah, Jake just got my back.
Battaglia?
I think just kind of dovetailing off of what Alana said, it's continually putting content out. I mean, it doesn't necessarily only apply to TikTok. I think to continually and consistently release stuff on whatever platform and whenever it makes sense, but to consistently and continually do it in a way that you have a lot of diversity of content. It's not just re-uploading from others. Like the idea of just cutting and splicing a music video off of YouTube and putting it on TikTok, that's a bit lazy. I think you have to know how to exist on the platform and engage on the platform meaningfully. And so I'd say that particularly the TikTok, more is more, but make sure it's quality, and make sure, you know, you're occupying the space where you feel comfortable and where you feel like you creatively fit.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Azran?
I think I would say do a lot of research. I think TikTok right now, I would like to say that, you know, you can really get your name out there at not a lot of cost. Obviously depends on the song itself and everything like that. There's a lot of factors, but it's definitely a platform that, one, of course, you can get your music out there without you even being on there, and not too of an expensive way. Slash, like the organic reach right now on TikTok. Like I would just really do my research and like figure the platform out and pay attention, because you know, the organic reach right now, if you're figuring out how to work TikTok, the organic reach is something that like you can't really get anywhere else. You know, you can have 0 followers, and you can make a video today that ends up getting millions of views. So yeah, definitely utilizing the platform, researching how it works. You know, if you're gonna run, or if you want to put your music out with micro influencers, like figure out like other songs that kind of that sound like yours, or things like that, where you know, you can find creators that have used the music is similar to what you make, and try to hit them up and see if they'll make videos to your song and figure it out. So I think that like a lot of research and really utilizing TikTok right now, you know, and we kind of said, you know, it's getting saturated, and that's very true. I still think that there's still a lot of people that are not on TikTok yet, and which means like it's gonna get bigger, it's gonna get harder, and like now is the time to start utilizing it. And so I think yeah, that is my piece of advice, I guess, for that.
It was beautiful.
I want my Jacob. I want my snaps, Jacob.
Yeah,
no
and if I may,
just kidding.
If I may, I know I'm the moderator, but I'd love to jump in with some advice. So I'm gonna ask myself a question. What do you think, Jacob? Perfect. Glad you asked. No, I also think that consistency is really important. Well, because it's like, you know, artists and managers ask all the time. They're like, "Hey, what's the secret to TikTok?" And to Alana's point, it's like, you know, just spend time on the platform. I think a lot of them are quick to ask that question without ever having opened up the app. So that's where you start. And yeah, just put out like one Instagram video, one TikTok video, and then just do it every week, once a week. And over time, what's going to happen is that as you start meeting more people, as you start thinking of more ideas, as you start thinking of shower thoughts, you're going to come up with more ideas. And then in a year, you'll be a lot better. So you got to just start somewhere, because no one has the answers, not even us, even if it seems like it does.
Gotta love those shower thoughts.
That's when the best ideas come. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to share? Any other thoughts?
Should we all talk about our favorite trend really quickly? Should we run through
yeah. Let's do it. What's y'all's favorite trend?
D, should we go at the same time?
All right, ready? 3. Wait, but we might have this lag.
That delay is crazy.
So, okay, we'll see what happens. 3,
okay, good.
2, 1. Hatchback. Oh, man. So late.
I think it worked though.
Okay, so me and Alana really bonded over Hatchback by, I don't want to butcher the name, but Cochise, maybe?
Conchise, maybe?
I don't know. But anyways, I don't learn TikTok dances, but this was one where I was like, Alana, I got to learn this. And I did. So that was one of my favorites. And then, yeah, I think most recently, Promiscuous Girl, just because that's like my top 2 favorite songs of all time. So I'm just loving seeing it every 5 seconds on my For You page. So that's for me.
Totally. I think for me, obviously Hatchback forever. But I mean, I'm biased because it was my first campaign I ever worked, but definitely St. John Roses, like that trend, just like classic for me. And then I think most recently though, the Boom 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 Banga Boys trend that's going back with Jack Wright and Zoe Fish's dance. I love that dance.
What
That's a great
about what
dance.
about? Actually, I'll let Theo go, and then I have a question.
This is genuinely one of my favorites because I thought it
Here we
was so
go.
funny.
It's biased.
It is biased, but I'm going
guess.
to do one that's so unrelated and probably a bit. It could be embarrassing. I don't know. But Trippy Red Excitement, that trend where he was like the original creator was like, "Show me your best excitement," and it goes from the normal song to people's. I don't want to be judgmental, but that poorly sung version of the song, and it was so funny, and what people did with it I thought was hilarious, and I loved that kind of like dual serious into comedy unexpectedness. I think it's great. And then the other one that I just really enjoyed is, that might be a little embarrassing, is the love story trend.
Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say that as well. That was in my top
incredible.
5.
Yeah, that made me feel something. It made me. I've personally never done a dance like on the platform, but it's like, should I?
Totally.
Gotta consider it.
Jacob, what's yours?
Mine is kind of basic. Yeah, we can hear you. Mine's kind of basic. I like the one with Don Tolliver, where he's like, "Let me get this bread, cause I have no idea." I just like it because it's nostalgic. It brings me back to this time last year.
Yeah, thanks.
It feels like an OG TikTok, which is weird.
I know, it feels like I miss. Oh, which one's that?
I forget. Do you know what I'm talking about? They do like a runway walk. It goes from like them wobbling, and then they do a runway walk.
Oh yeah.
I think that's BB No Money, isn't it, or something like that? It's like
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not gonna sing it. Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
But I have a question. How do you guys feel about the trends of going in a parking lot and wearing a wig on? I don't know if you guys have been seeing that, but there's like the bad Wiggies who have started this trend of going and wearing wigs that are different colors. And now there's like the Latino Wiggies, there's like the dad Wiggies, there's like I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's all these like
Adi's TikTok algorithm.
I don't think anyone has ever seen those videos, Adi.
Or
no, they're big.
You've made it to wig TikTok.
Wig TikTok, bro. It's a crazy side of TikTok. But also, on top of that, just in general, like these freestyle videos have been like really prominent, right? Like in the last few weeks, whether it's going in a wig into a parking lot or dressing up as Power Rangers. So, they've gotten like, I don't know, almost 2 million followers in like 2 weeks or something. They just started this account. So these like freestyle vids, dressing up or wearing, I don't know, just channeling some other kind of energy out there has been really popping up. So that's I'm just going to wrap up here.
No, I think it's good. I think wig TikTok.
Steps for me.
Glad that wasn't on the list of questions, but I'm glad we covered that. Goes to show you how random TikTok can be.
I couldn't leave unless we talked about. I shouted out the Wiggies. Sorry.
Fair point. All good. Shout out the Wiggies. All right. I think that wraps up our time today. I'm going to put all three of you guys on the spot and have you give some departing words and a goodbye.
I'll go first.
Keep them wise.
It's not the kind of person I am, but I just want to say thanks for having me today. And I really love TikTok, and I really love working with you guys because I feel like the creative conversations that we have are constantly keeping me on my toes and making me better every single day. So I'll keep it there. Someone else can say something more wise, but that's genuinely how I feel.
I'll go because I'm beneath.
That's cool. It can be whatever's on your heart, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been a very fun conversation with you guys. And I would just say my parting words of wisdom are, use every platform at your disposal and do not put too many eggs in one basket. And don't stop trust the rest of the process too.
I think I'll go. But yeah, also thank you for having me. And on a more humanistic level, I've never done a panel before, so this is definitely something that was uncomfortable for me, and I just did something uncomfortable today. And so go do something uncomfortable today. It's gonna make
Hey,
you feel a little better. So that's the note I'm gonna leave
look
off
at
of.
you.
Jacob, please take it away.
Awesome. I have this hoodie on that says "Seek Discomfort," actually. So anyway, thanks to everyone for joining today. This was a great session, and yeah, I'm gonna echo what Adi said. I think it's important to find ways that you can step out of your comfort zone as much as you can. It's the only way to growth. And yeah, I think this was one of my first times moderating a panel, so that was pretty uncomfortable. But yeah, hope everyone had a good day, and peace out. Catch you on the flippity flip.